Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of The Mandatory. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at The Mandatory TKO. You can also find us on the audio side as well, wherever you find your shows, podcasts. If you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. Give us a 5-star because that helps the channel grow. And thanks so much for rocking with us this early morning, Tuesday morning. We do appreciate you for rocking with us. And remember, this is an interactive show, so please drop your comments because we will be getting to all of your comments. And it's a jam-packed show on this Tuesday because, Brian, we got to get to some real fights that are happening, not news, because there's some fights going down. This one in your stomping grounds, Keyshawn Davis, Dennis Berinchyk. This fight is going down in New York. Dennis Berinchyk, he holds the title and he is a plus 450 straight up on the money line. Keyshawn Davis, a minus 650. I looked at another prominent sports book and he was a minus 750. Brian, I feel like this line is extremely disrespectful. Do you feel like it's going to be that easy for Keyshawn Davis to beat Dennis Berinchyk?
It shouldn't be. If it is, then Keyshawn Davis is really every bit as good as he's said, every bit as good as Top Rank has been telling us and promoting to us. I think this line it's kind of wild, like wildly disrespectful to Dennis Berinchyk. But I mean, listen, if Keyshawn Davis is going to just go in there and knock him out by the eighth round, then in hindsight, it will have been a line that makes sense. I will be at the press conference for this. We'll see how that goes because boxing media events, very much not like they used to be. Not to sound like an old man because I'm barely 30, but I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Um, Dennis Berinchyk, Keyshawn Davis. I think this is a very good fight. I think it's a better fight than the odds would indicate. I think it's a closer fight than the odds would indicate. I think the card is interesting, which we can get into a little bit. We should get into a little bit because there are a lot of interesting names on this card who people care about, who boxing fans care about at least. Dennis Berinchyk is good. Like he just he beat Emmanuel Navarrete. It was a split decision, but I thought it was actually a little bit more convincing than that. I didn't see where Navarrete could have won the fight. I think a draw would have been okay, not unreasonable. Um, I was kind of feeling like, okay, a draw makes sense. And then when I rewatched it, because I rewatched it not that long ago to get ready for this fight, I was like, oh no, Dennis Berinchyk, like he might have won 8 rounds of the 4. Manuel Navarrete was not on his A game. Now we haven't seen him since May, but Dennis Berinchyk wins that fight. They also have a common opponent, Anthony Yigit, and look, he's got a decent resume. Like he's just being super overlooked because he's a champion. He's not American, and he just doesn't have like this finishing ability, if you will. Like he doesn't really stop dudes in that way. So I think people are just sleeping on him. But while Keyshawn Davis is really good, I think he's going to have a tougher fight here. And if he doesn't, which I'm open to being wrong, I always am. If he doesn't have a tougher fight here, then hats off to him. Then he's really next at 135. But I do think Keyshawn Davis wins this fight. I just think he's going to have to work a little bit harder than some people may suggest.
Are you thinking that he gets the knockout in this fight?
No, I think
Yeah.
this is a Keyshawn Davis decision to me. I'd be surprised if this is a knockout. Um, like he's super well rounded. He also like he's not going to finish every single guy he fights either. You know what I mean? Like he has some decisions. The over under for this is 10.5, and the over is minus 330. So Vegas is also telling you, hey, decision's the likeliest outcome. Keyshawn Davis is minus 140 at one book that I'm looking at to win by decision, plus 200 if you think he's going to get the stoppage. Dennis Berinchyk, probably should mention, he's plus 650 to win this by decision. So that is, I don't think he's going to get one. I think this might as well be Norfolk, Virginia, but I think Keyshawn Davis guesses on points. In fact, I might bet that right now while you're talking.
I think this is a very tough fight for Keyshawn Davis, the toughest fight that he's ever had. I don't think Dennis Berinchyk is going to be a layup. I hate that line. I hate the fact that Keyshawn Davis is a minus 650 because Dennis Berinchyk, he beat Emmanuel Navarrete. And I don't think it was a split decision. I thought Berinchyk was winning that fight, and he was giving Emmanuel Navarrete some work in a fight that Emmanuel Navarrete was supposed to win. That was a fight that Dennis Berinchyk was not supposed to be victorious and end up being the champ, because that messed some things up. Because there were other fights that were supposed to be made, because Navarrete was supposed to win that fight. Dennis Berinchyk, very skilled. He knows how to move around the ring really well. Keyshawn Davis is all around and he's got the power. Dennis Berinchyk does not have that power, but he's a tricky fighter. And I think this is going to be a tougher fight. I want to see how fast Keyshawn Davis is able to figure out Berinchyk, because I think Berinchyk could actually give him some problems in this fight. And I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think this one definitely goes the distance. I think Keyshawn Davis will end up getting the decision, but Berinchyk going to make it really hard. And to be honest with you, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm looking at those odds and I'm like, they look good. I don't think Berinchyk is going to win, because the fight's in New York. It's Keyshawn Davis. There's too much on the line. And I'm not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I think this fight is going to be a lot closer than people think. A lot closer than people think on the cards. He's going to make it really, really tough. And obviously, Keyshawn Davis's power is different from Emmanuel Navarrete. And Emmanuel Navarrete was coming up. And the whole time in that fight, I was like, it doesn't seem like his power transcended in the Berinchyk fight. For Keyshawn Davis, he does have that power. But, man, Berinchyk is very skilled, dude. Like, very, very skilled. And these Ukrainian fighters, I mean, you could essentially say that he's kind of like a Loma. Like, the way that he fights, the style that he fights. And so that's why it's so tricky. And so I'm very excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a lot closer, but I think Keyshawn Davis will end up getting the win. But I wouldn't sleep on Berinchyk. I wouldn't sleep on that fight being a dud. Ryan Hong, odds on Davis to win by decision are bad at minus 120. Yeah, I would take that.
Better than 140 that I just saw.
Yeah.
Ryan, where are you getting that from? Also, where's that 120 number coming from? Keyshawn Davis' score knockdown is plus 140.
I like that. I like those. I actually like those odds. I mean, that's a good number.
To not score a knockdown, minus 195, which is interesting, because I think he could drop Berinchyk.
For sure.
I'd be a little surprised if he finished him. I think it's one of those where
Berinchyk does get hit.
Yeah,
like he does get hit. So it's
Ryan Hong points out Berinchyk beat him Artem Lobov in a bare knuckle fight. Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a very good fight. And this is a tough fight for Keyshawn. And honestly, if Keyshawn is able to, if Keyshawn knocks him out or he figures him out and then just starts winning round after round, like, we're going to have to take a look at Keyshawn Davis a little bit closer, because then he would for sure be that dude. You know what? We got to, Brian, get to the card, because there's some names on this card, you guys. There's so many names on here. You got Xander Zayas.
Yeah, if we could, this could be the de facto 8 count today, because we didn't actually decide to make it 8 count.
Dude, there's so many. Abdullah Mason's on this card.
Rohan
Polanco is on this card, who I'm a big fan of.
Let me pull this up. Okay.
Jared Anderson is on this card. Tiger Johnson is on this card. Nico Ali Walsh is on this card. This card is crazy. Give us more Friday night cards like this, because I want to watch this whole thing. I won't be able to, because I'll be working, unfortunately. But
yeah, no post fight live show.
This is a fight that I want to see. Like, this is a card that's stacked with so much talent. Brian, you're taking a look at that card, and obviously you're going to be excited for Xander Zayas. But who else are you excited to watch on here?
I'm at least curious about everybody. I'm going to be at the presser. I won't be at the fight because I'll be working, but I'll be able to watch it where I'm working. Dennis Berinchyk, Keyshawn Davis, obviously, is a very good main event. Xander Zayas is getting tested against Slava Spomer, who is from Kyrgyzstan, currently living in Germany, 20-0 with 11 knockouts. Doesn't have an amazing resume, but I think that, it's this next level for Xander Zayas. It's like, all right, now can you beat somebody who's undefeated, who is competitive? Can you put him away potentially? All these different things. They're gearing up Xander Zayas for the title shot, because he's already highly ranked by multiple organizations in this division. I think he's going to get a title shot at 154 by the end of this year. At the very latest, early next year. They're gearing him up. He's 20-0 already. He's still very young, but he's going to get that shot soon. Could even be the fight after this, but I think he might have a Puerto Rican Day parade like that eve, he probably has one more fight there that may even be an eliminator or something, and then they get him a title shot later in the year. That's how I think they're going to do it. That's my prediction. Jared Anderson's return. I mean, it's interesting. He's fighting a dude, obviously, who has power, Greek heavyweight Marios Kolias, who has a few losses, who has been knocked out before, but that was his very first pro fight. Since then, he hasn't been. Jared Anderson, this is a good comeback fight for you. Let's see what you got. Rohan Polanco, who I think he's underrated.
Yes.
He's
Dude,
absolutely underrated.
this
Yeah,
guy's my favorite guy on the card other than Abdullah Mason.
more than Sanders Ayers.
Yeah, I love Abdullah
How
Mason.
dare
I
you?
love Polanco.
How dare you?
But hey, I'm just saying, okay,
More
because
than Keyshawn
I can
Davis?
I no, like because I don't even feel like Xander Zayas is like really a prospect now.
Oh, prospect. Okay,
Do
okay.
you know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
not really a prospect, dude. Like
No,
the
he's a
guy's about
contender
to take
now.
off to yeah, he's about
Yeah.
to take off to stardom. Like this is different. He's next up. So I don't even put him in that category of like the young guys that I'm excited for. But Rohan Polanco, yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Like sign me up. I want to watch him fight. And I love Abdullah Mason. So
Fighting Giancarlos Torres, who is, I believe he's Puerto Rican, 22-1, 17 knockouts. And Rohan Polanco is undefeated. And
looks good,
listen,
dude.
last time I saw, because I saw him on the Sandy Ryan, Michaela Mayer undercard. That was the day Julius Randle got traded, but I was still around when when that fight happened, and he looked impressive. He got an impressive stoppage, and I think at welterweight, like he's somebody you got to watch out for. Vito Milnicki Jr. is fighting Connor Coyle. That is interesting because Connor Coyle could actually low key upset him. Vito Milnicki's last performance was um, was underwhelming, is what I would say.
It was meh. I would say it was that.
Yeah, his last performance was underwhelming, so he needs a good one here. Actually, I think Xander Zayas is going to fight probably Vito Milnicki Jr. next. I think that's what they want to gear up
You've
towards
been saying that for like a year now, where you're
because
like, they should
they
fight.
signed him with the and at the press conference where they introduced him, like they were already teasing this fight, and it's like, all right, then just do it. But they want to build up Vito Milnicki Jr. to get a couple of wins, I suppose, and then that they actually make the fight happen. But yeah, that's what you do in June. And honestly, that can main event the theater. It's theater. You can do Xander Zayas, Vito Milnicki Jr., Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend, and Xander Zayas wins and then gets a title shot. You could do that. That's totally acceptable. Abdullah Mason, this is the first fight that he's had since he got knocked down twice, as you mentioned. Tiger Johnson, Nico Ali Walsh, who I'm becoming less and less interested in. And I just got to be honest. It's like Nico Ali Walsh. Like he seems like an awesome dude. And I think he's going to win this fight. But I think we gotta relax a little bit. Juan Mita is making his debut. Also, Puerto Rican Olympian, the son of Juan. I cannot believe this dude has a son who's already fighting. But the site of the site of we have Juanma Lopez de Jesus, who is a Olympian who fought, I forget at what weight class, but it was one of the super lighter weight classes in the Olympics last year, who looked very impressive against somebody who already had pro experience, already had like a high level degree of amateur experience, international experience, and this dude who was 18 at the time is 19 years old now. He's going to be making his debut. And I'm very excited to see what Juan Mita could do because I was impressed with him in the Olympics and I've seen him also fight. He's the son of Juan Manuel Lopez. So for people who remember, champion back in the day. And that's going to be very exciting. I want to see how he's pushed because I think he could actually be really, really good. He's going to fight at super flyweight division to start his career. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, guys, drop your comments. Let us know who you're going to be taking for Keyshawn Davis, Dennis Berinchyk. Also, if you're excited for the undercard, let us know what fight or fighter that you are most excited for. Adam Hurley dropped a comment. He said Xander Zayas should fight Fernando Vargas Jr. Vargas Jr. undefeated with tons of KOs. As you know, Brian, I'm a big fan of the Vargas family. And if this was to happen, I think you know what way I'd be going. This would be a great fight, by the way.
Yeah.
Adam, great matchmaking there.
I honestly, I think this is a fight you kind of like you milk a little bit. You
You
know?
gotta wait till they get bigger, dude. It's like it's gonna happen. They're gonna fight each other eventually, and this could be like a massive, massive fight one day.
Yeah, and Fernando Vargas Jr., they're kind of slow playing his development. He's 28. He's still fighting 8 rounders. I feel like he's gonna have to go like very soon. But he has to get ranked higher. And I think this is a fight in, let's say, 2-3 years if Xander has a title, because he would get to the title first, just based on how they're both being developed. Like, yeah, this is one that could go in that Puerto Rico Mexico like rivalry, because you would have Xander Zayas, who at that point would be a champion with a couple defenses under his belt, maybe, and you have Fernando Vargas Jr., who, I mean, the son of a legend, who's this big puncher, and like that, that would be very, very interesting. I would like to see that in a couple years.
I want to quickly get to this comment because this is really interesting, and I agree with Ryan over here. Jared Hurd is losing his next fight. Whoever his opponent is that I've never heard of is plus money. Get it while you can. Thank me later. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a wrap for Jared. I hate to say it,
Friend
man.
of the show? Question mark.
Yeah, because he was on our show. He was like
Yeah.
one of our very, very first interviews, and let me tell y'all, it was a lot of technical difficulties for
As it
that
always
one.
is with these boxers, because they're used to just hopping on shitty Zoom quality interviews and just like going on their phones and shit. When we're like, yo, we have a little bit of a more advanced setup here. So you need good Wi-Fi and preferably a laptop, which is why we loved Richard Torres Jr., because we had him on. He had a computer. He was ready. And he was on Chrome. And
Yeah, and
his
also
Wi-Fi was great.
sidebar, Tiger Johnson's also fighting on this card. He was on our show too, like really, really early on.
Yeah.
So another guy to
He hasn't looked awesome in his last couple fights.
he's gotta get going. So it'll be very interesting. Brian, there's another fight that's flying under the radar. This one I feel like it's a very big fight at the 140-pound division. It's happening across the